you all. Welcome to our live crafting this morning. It is Monday the 12th of June 2023. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire here in the UK. I've turned the lights off actually, just because of the reflection, so I'm hoping the light level is okay. It's currently slightly cloudy, but the sun is due to come out, so fingers crossed the lighting is okay. Let me know if it's anything otherwise and I can pop the lights on for you. Morning Jeanette, I hope you had a lovely weekend. The weather was glorious, wasn't it? Although I didn't see much of it because I was indoors most of the time. But yes, good morning to you. Right. Okay, so we have a new stamp set for this week. Well, actually, I am using two and I couldn't actually decide which one to nominate for our stamp set of the week. So we're going to have two stamp sets of the week. So if you buy either one of these during the week of which I'm presenting them, then you get all the supplies for the cards that I make. So either one of these will do the job. Okay, so we've got Rays of Light, which is a huge background stamp, as you can see here. And it is exactly what it says, Rays of Light, or sunburst. It's got some inbuilt markings on it to make it look really effective rather than a solid stamp. So just to know that they are on the stamp itself, and it's not because you've misstamped anything. And then the other one, which has had a viewing, but I can't remember when, is Brewed for You. And the reason I've selected this one, and in fact this one, is because we are here in the UK approaching Father's Day this weekend. And I know some people obviously will celebrate either their fathers or a father in their life. And also it's good for male birthdays. Obviously a lot of us don't have our dads around anymore, sadly. But we always need male birthdays. So I thought I would combine the two and use Brewed for You and Rays of Light. So that's the plan. And this is also what we're doing at Coffee and Cards today and tomorrow. And we had great fun with it on Friday. Unfortunately, we had a drink spillage on Friday, and so my samples are completely wrecked. But we can start again today, it's no trouble at all. So I'm going to use Rays of Light for the background, and then I'm going to stamp probably the beer glass onto a circle and then put a message at the bottom. So Brewed for You is a really versatile set for anybody who has people who love beer and alcohol. I suppose they could be non-alcoholic, couldn't they? So we have a wine glass and an infill, we have a beer tankard and an infill, we have a straight beer glass with an infill, and then you've got foam that will fit either of those. You've also got a flask here, some little bubbles that you could put either on here or on the wine to make it look like champagne or something, although it's the wrong size of glass. And then you've got 3 sentiments: I owe you one, or several, another round for your birthday, and OL yes. That's a very American expression, isn't it? So we're going to use the Rays of Light as our background. So this is a large background stamp, as you can see. So if you don't have a stamp positioning tool, I recommend that you place your stamp face up on your work surface. Take your card, having inked up your stamp, and then very carefully place your card onto the ink surface. I'm going to be using my stamp positioning tool to get a more accurate image. And also I take this to coffee and card for anybody with dexterity issues. I find it hard to hold a big stamp on a block, just because of the width and the height of that. So I would always use my Stamparatus for that. So other stamp positioning tools are available because we no longer sell our Stamparatus. That's been withdrawn. So, but there's plenty out there, and you can pick up some second-hand ones of these. So I've got my grid paper here, and we're going to be using our Kraft cards and envelopes today. I might put this light on here because it just feels a little bit shadowy. If I just move these back, there we go. So I'm going to be using our Kraft card, and we're going to stamp directly onto that with our rays of light. So what I've done on my Stamparatus is I put a little piece of our sticky grid sheet to hold my card in place. And let's put this down roughly here. And I want it fairly well away from the edge so that I don't have any problems with the inking up. And then just to stop that card popping up, I'm just going to pop another piece of, I'm hoping that won't affect the stamped image, I'm sure it won't. Okay, so here's my design, and I can work out where I want it on my card, or I can rotate my card. Obviously you could have this in portrait or landscape, that would also work. I think I'm going to have this, let's see, I want to make sure it covers that fairly well. Okay, let's bring that over. Oops, a daisy. Like so. We'll have a look, see how that looks. Okay, let's just put another little tab on here just to hold it in place. And I'm just making sure, because the edge of the stamp is slightly short of the edge here, that it's not going to be too short. I might need to move it over, but let's give it a go as is. And I'm going to choose, what am I going to choose? Pecan Pie is very similar, so I might get a sort of tone on tone effect of this. So, it's going to keep picking up, isn't it? Okay, let's just put that on there, just to hold it in place. So this is Pecan Pie, very similar to that. And I haven't tried this combination, so let's give it a go. And obviously you can stamp off if you want a lighter version. Hopefully you can see that okay. And I am still inking up the whole stamp, even though I'm only using a part of it. When I know exactly where it needs to go, then it's not quite so bad. Just trying to avoid the camera. There we go. Okay, so a nice amount of pressure. If you've got a pressure tool, you can use that. Or the heel of your hand, it just depends on your dexterity really, and how much pressure you've got. Okay, so there we go. And this, these marks and things that are on there are all part of the stamp. So I'm happy with that. It was almost right on the edge. You can just see here there was a little sliver left over, so that's fine. Okay, so that's our background. Let me just clean that down. So I hope you all had a good weekend. I had a busy weekend with our Team Craft Day on Sunday, which went really well. I will share the projects with you, but it was really good fun. And we managed to have all the doors open so that we could get a little bit of a breeze. There wasn't much of a breeze, but get a little bit of a breeze through. Okay, just going to put that to one side, ready. So here's my card here. Let's take out my little sticky bits that were holding it in place. That's really just to stop it moving too much. Okay, and now all I'm going to do is stamp my image on here, and I could actually use Pecan Pie again, and I'm going to do the straight beer glass. I think that will fit on there. Yes, just. And then it has an infill, so there's two ways that you can colour these in. You can use blends pens and colour them in, or you can use the included infill here to colour it in. So entirely up to you. Okay, so I think I'm going to use Pecan Pie. Normally I would use early espresso, of course, as you know, but I think this will do the job. Just going to stamp that on there, hopefully centrally, yes. And then my infill, I'm going to make this lager, I think. And so typical colours that I use for the drinks elements are here. So I've got lemon lolly that I use for champagne or a lager. I've also got Pecan Pie, cherry cobbler for red wine, Cajun craze is good for a beer or a lager, also wild wheat. Obviously I've got early espresso, that's good for Guinness, and then we've got copper clay as well. So any of those that you've got, and if you haven't got the ink pads, you could use blends pens or Stampin' Up markers if you have them. There's a little something on there. Okay. So I'm going to use the infill, and I think I'm going to use lemon lolly. And just going to find a piece of scrap paper. Oh, I just want to stamp that again so I can see what it's going to look like. It won't be quite the same on here because this is a thin paper, so just want to see. Oh yes, that definitely works, doesn't it? That colour combination. If I lift it up to the screen, it won't be quite the same as that, but I think that works perfectly. So what you could do, and I'm sure I have done in the past, but it's not in there now, is practice with different colours and then make a note of the colours that work and then keep it in with the stamp set. So when you come to use it in a year's time for your next Father's Day card, you'll have all of that information ready and you won't need to sit there working out which one is which. Okay, so it has all the markings on it already. Just wondering whether to add the little dots at the top. I haven't really got a lot of space, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to add the sentiments. I owe you one, or several, and have a particular person that this is for. I've cut a few strips of card here, like that, and I might as well stick with Pecan Pie. There we go. That's worked perfectly. Okay, just move those to one side and I'll clean those in a minute. So nice and simple. what I'm going to do is position this over my ray. Now I could add a larger circle, but I quite like the contrast of the lines going out and the white, but you could certainly add a larger circle. This is from our Stylish Shapes dies, but you could use punches to create the same effect if you wanted to, if you've got some coordinating punches. So I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, which I put ready, and I just need to find them. Literally said, let's put those out. There they are. So just a couple, I've got some scraps on here. Use those. So, nice easy start to Monday morning. I did unload my car yesterday after all the Kraft day, and I put most of it away but not all of it away, so that's my job for this morning. All the ink pads are back where they should be, and I just need to make sure I've got everything ready for coffee and card this afternoon. So for this one, for my sentiment, I'm just going to have that coming in from the sides, quite casual, and that line there. I'm just going to make that a little bit shorter, like so. So nice and simple. As I say, Father's Day card, if that is appropriate for you, or a male birthday, or indeed a female birthday. I'm sure there's lots of women that like a drink or two, certainly in this weather. So we are expecting thunderstorms. We had some yesterday, and we're expecting some this afternoon, probably just as I arrive for coffee and card in toaster. So wish me luck. Good morning to you, Linda, and good morning, Scott. I can see you're watching. Whether you're still watching is another matter. There we go. And you could use a Wink of Stella pen if you wanted to give that a little bit of sparkle, depending on what drink you had. So if you're doing like a champagne, that would definitely work. And the other set I'm taking for coffee and card that goes with the wine glass is the one Bottled Happiness that has a wine bottle on it, and that I think would be quite nice with a wine bottle and a wine glass. So there we go, nice and simple to start us off for the week. So this is our stamp set of the week, both the Rays of Light and Brewed for You, and I'll be using both of those in the week, not necessarily together for the rest of the week, but I've got some other ideas with both of them. So let's put the two together for this week. So thank you so much for joining me. It is 10:20, so I'm well to time today, so that is excellent. I'm off to collect my dog Cassie from the groomers. She's having some of her coat taken off because she's got really thick, mostly black fur, and so she gets very hot, and she does like to sunbathe, which is a bit daft, but she takes after me. I love the sun. So I'm off to collect her shortly. So thank you so much for joining me. Do enjoy the rest of your day, morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when you are watching us. Thank you, Jeanette, for your lovely comments, and I look forward to catching up with you all really soon. Bye for now. Do take care.